Hey there, sports history fan. This is Arnie Chapman of the Football History Dude podcast, and I'm stopping by this show real quick to tell you about a couple of cool giveaways that we have going on here at the network. Both are autographed books covering various topics of the NFL. The first is The Point After: How One Resilient Kicker Learned There Is More to Life Than the NFL by ex-NFL kicker Sean Conley. It goes over his unique experience as a walk-on kicker at the University of Pitt after never playing high school football. And then it gets into some of his time playing for NFL teams and so much more beyond the gridiron. The other is from author Kevin Bryant. His book is titled Spies on the Sidelines: The High-Stakes World of NFL Espionage. This book started as a curiosity, kind of a passion project to understand everything revolving around, well, Spygate. But this put Kevin down a rabbit hole learning about all sorts of espionage that has occurred throughout the history of the NFL. Both permissible and often the illicit techniques of gathering intel to try to impact the outcome of the game. To sign up for your chance to win an autographed copy of one of these books, all you gotta do is head over to sportshistorynetwork.com/giveaways and sign up. That's sportshistorynetwork.com/giveaways. Again, check out all the other podcasts that we have in the Sports History Network as well. But now, back to your regularly scheduled journey to the Sports History Timeline. This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
Hello, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Yesterday's Sports on the Sports History Network. Last week, we discussed the 1970 Dallas Cowboys and how their season came to a disappointing end. Today, we'll talk about their 1971 season. After losing the Super Bowl 8 months earlier on a last-second field goal, the Cowboys started the 1971 season with a not-so-impressive win. The Cowboys' pass defense struggled in a 49-37 victory over the Buffalo Bills, allowing 353 yards in passing. The game's big play for Dallas was a Craig Morton to Bob Hayes 76-yard touchdown pass. The defense rebounded in Week 2, allowing the Eagles just 170 yards in total offense and forcing 8 turnovers en route to a 42-7 win. Herb Adderley had 3 interceptions, and Bob Lilly returned a fumble recovery for a touchdown. But in a Week 3 20-16 loss to Washington, the Cowboys' run defense struggled, giving up 200 yards on the ground. In a Week 4 Monday night 20-13 win over the Giants, Craig Morton connected with Bob Hayes for a 48-yard touchdown, and the Cowboys ran for 222 yards. But there was still cause for concern on the defensive side of the ball, as they allowed 294 yards passing. Roger Staubach connected with Gloucester Richardson on a 41-yard touchdown strike in Week 5. The Cowboys outgained the New Orleans Saints 300 yards to 157, but still managed to lose the game 24-14 as they turned the ball over 6 times. Dallas bounced back the next week with a 44-21 win over the Patriots in their new Texas Stadium. Dwayne Thomas had a 56-yard touchdown run, and Bob Hayes had 2 touchdowns while gaining 83 yards. Things reached a boiling point in Week 7 loss to the Bears. The Doomsday defense held the Bears to just 7 first downs and 194 total yards. The Cowboys' offense gained 481 yards and had 26 first downs, but 7 turnovers did them in, as the Bears took the win 23-19. A big part of the Cowboys' struggles was the indecisiveness of Coach Tom Landry in choosing a starting quarterback. He finally settled on Roger Staubach, who completed 20 of 31 passes for 200 yards with 1 touchdown and a 16-13 win over the Cardinals. Dwayne Thomas ran for 101 yards, while Lance Allworth caught 8 passes for 89 yards. A lackluster 20-7 win over the Eagles was followed by a 13-0 win over Washington. The Redskins, who had gained 200 yards rushing in their Week 3 win over Dallas, were held to just 65 yards this time. The Cowboys' D, which had struggled earlier in the season, was now clicking on all cylinders. Then, in a 28-21 victory over the Rams on Thanksgiving Day, Ike Thomas returned a kickoff 89 yards for a touchdown, and Staubach connected with Bob Hayes on a 51-yard touchdown. In a 52-10 shellacking of the Jets, Ike Thomas returned a kickoff for a touchdown for the second week in a row, this time for 101 yards. The Cowboys' offense gained 439 yards as Dwayne Thomas ran for 112 yards and scored a touchdown. Calvin Hill also had a big day, gaining 62 yards on the ground and 80 yards receiving while scoring 2 touchdowns. The Doomsday defense held the Jets to 149 total yards and forced 6 turnovers. Dallas kept their winning streak alive with an easy 42-14 win over the Giants in Week 13. Bob Hayes had a big game, catching 4 passes for 154 yards, including 2 touchdown receptions of 46 and 85 yards respectively. The Cowboys' D had 5 sacks, forced 5 turnovers, and held the Giants to just 64 yards rushing. In the final game of the regular season, Dwayne Thomas scored 4 touchdowns, one for 34 yards and another for 53 yards, as the Cowboys cruised to a 31-12 win over the Cardinals. Dallas would now travel to Minnesota for the divisional playoff game. The 11-3 Vikings had the best defense in the NFL and held the Cowboys to just 183 total yards. But the Dallas D forced 5 turnovers and won the game 20-12. Then, for the second year in a row, the Cowboys would face the 49ers for a trip to the Super Bowl. The 49ers had perhaps the most potent passing game in the NFL, but Doomsday held them to 184 yards through the air and intercepted 3 passes. The Cowboys gained 172 yards rushing, while holding the 49ers to just 61 yards on the ground. Dallas won 14-3, and now was on to the Super Bowl to face the Miami Dolphins. Although a very young team, the Dolphins were no slouch. Miami came into the game with a 12-3-1 record and had defeated the 1969 Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs and the 1970 Super Bowl champion Baltimore Colts in the playoffs. But Super Bowl VI was never close. On the final play of the first quarter, Bob Lilly and Larry Cole chased down quarterback Bob Greasy for a 29-yard sack. The Cowboys' running game churned out 252 yards, while the Dolphins' running backs gained only 80 yards. Dallas coasted to an easy 24-3 victory. It took 6 years of postseason play, but the Dallas Cowboys were finally the world champions. On a personal note, it was a memorable season for this 9-year-old Cowboys fan. After watching my team struggle in the first half of the season, the Cowboys reeled off 10 wins in a row, capping it off with a Vince Lombardi trophy. In my opinion, the 1971 team may have been the Cowboys' best team ever. That concludes our podcast for this week. Hope you enjoyed it, and God bless.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
It was just another ordinary day in the offices of the Pittsburgh Guardian newspaper circa 1924. But for Marla Delft, assistant editor, everything was about to change. For she was about to discover the awesome attractiveness of Row 1 brand retro sports paraphernalia items thanks to Orville Mulligan, sports writer.
And there it is.
Wow, Orville, that's really the bee's knees.
Isn't it just? A poster-sized replica of the actual 1909 World Series program cover.
I can see that. But where did you get it? And where'd you get it framed?
I ordered it from the Row 1 website, where over 6,000 items of sports memorabilia from the 1880s to the 1990s are available for reproduction, in multiple sizes and in several different materials, with over a dozen styles of frame to choose from for prints like this.
Well, I'm sure Mr. Delft would love to put up more of these in the office. But I'm equally as sure they're beyond this newspaper's budget.
Not at all, my dear Marla. See for yourself. Go to sportshistorynetwork.com/row1.
sportshistorynetwork.com/row1. Oh my, these are good prices. Oh, and look at this stuff. Oklahoma-Nebraska football, college basketball art, Michael Jordan items.
And so it
retro
was that
sports
Marla Delft
advertisement
discovered the
placards.
splendiferous magic of Row 1 sports memorabilia, arts, and prints. You can too by visiting sportshistorynetwork.com/row1. That's ROW1 today for access to the full Row 1 catalog of gallery prints and gifts like t-shirts, long-sleeve shirts, telephone cases, coffee mugs, blankets, pillows, towels, and even shower curtains. Act today for 15% discount off all prints with coupon code SHN15 and 20% off all other items with coupon code SHN20 at checkout. And keep your dial locked to the Sports History Network for the exciting chronicles of the 1920 sports world in Orville Mulligan, sports writer. Coming soon.